I'm Elisa Mortensen, and this is Undo Redo. Let's take a look at all the things that happen in life that we would like to undo and have a chance to redo. Hello, everyone. Who else loves the transition from summer to fall? I know I do. I love the seasons here in Utah, and I feel so spoiled by the beauty. It's ridiculous how gorgeous it can be here. Some news you'll want to know is I have cut the next course price in half because I've done some serious upgrades, and because upgrading it means it's new, I'm asking only half price in exchange for your feedback. I'm going to just open it. Usually I like to have 10 to 12 people. I may just get as many of you as possible, and it's open to sign up now. So get in there. October 7th is when it starts. It's a communication repair class. I call it Undo Redo because we undo the damage that has been caused in our relationships over the years, and we have a redo with how we would rather it be from now on. It will take you from fights and annoyance and triggers with kids and spouse to authentic connection and enjoying your time together, which you never thought could happen to this level, I promise. It kind of is in favor of little amounts of time daily that have big changes happen in their behavior. More listening, more peace, more enjoyment, all of those things. And it only takes you. I promise. It doesn't sound like it does because they need to change their behavior too, right? But I promise it only takes you. You are the tide and all the boats rise when you do. By having a simple but effective daily quality time check-ins with each person and learning the proper communication for empowering them through this class, they will get the results for their resilience and skills. And over time, you'll be so shocked by the changes that you never knew were possible, could even happen. In fact, if you told me 3 years ago that my adult kids would be thriving individually and looking forward to seeing each other and my husband and I as much as they do, I would think you were delusional. I really would. There's no way that could happen. In my mind, 3 years ago, you never could have convinced me. So I don't even know how to articulate this, that it's possible. The other effect that I love from what I've put together in this class is that the work I've put in for the intimacy that I now have with my spouse, it's unmatched from what I've seen in other relationships around me. I have taken the time to learn, get educated, study, and implement all these tools that promote the most long-lasting change from dysfunction to connection in the home. It's been tough to do, but it has been so worth it, and I want to get you there too. My teen adults say things like, I can't wait till the next time I can see you guys, or it isn't soon enough. When can we do this again? And it just melts my heart. You won't know till you've experienced it for yourself. It's my heaven on earth, the true, genuine love that we have that's perfectly messy as the people that we are. So get into this class. I want to talk about something that has been coming up in my coaching a lot lately. This episode is all about people pleasing. And spoiler alert, the majority of us people please. We don't even see it. But for example, we're teaching our children to be people pleasers. What is a people pleaser? Don't get me wrong. We want to be nice to people, right? People are going to like us better if we do these things. But the plain and simple truth is that people pleasers are liars. And that's really sad to think of yourself as a liar. Like, I don't see myself as a liar. I'm doing kind things. It means that we're well-intended and we're honest people, but lying all the time. We're pretenders, basically. People pleasers are the ones with the messiest mental health on the inside, and they end up with the most resentment towards other people around them. This is so sad. Right? How do you know if you're a people pleaser or not? I put this episode together to help put some awareness around what people pleasing is. And I'll be the first to admit I'm a people pleaser. I know that things like, oh, you're a liar. Well, yeah, I do sometimes, but a lot less than I used to. I care deeply about what others think of me and how they feel and how I affect their lives. My behavior and what I do literally affects their day. It means that I'm nice and I'm willing to help out. But there's a difference between kindness and people-pleasing, and it can be so subtle. You could go a lifetime wondering why you were just a little bit agitated and wore out, and you were trying to do so much service, and you never arrived at peace. The first sign is that you worry about what others think of you. Everyone does this to some degree, and we hope that we're portraying who we really are to those around us. But people pleasers, they ruminate about very specific people who don't like them. It just gets under their skin. They can't stand that people don't like them. They worry about whether their friends like them or not, if their friends are hanging out with these people or not, and they cause problems around it. It's really important that everyone likes them. They will do just about anything to make sure people like them. Lying doesn't seem so bad, right? When you're like, I will do anything to make sure someone likes me, then you're just like, oh, a little white lie, as long as they like me. The second is pretty similar. Telling people no is stressful for you. You'll say yes to people when you don't even like them. Just because you know you can do it all and you can be everything to everyone and you want to be seen as that kind of person and you want everybody to have these thoughts about you that are so good, this leads you to take on things and associate with people that you don't even care for, stuff you don't even want to do, and that you don't really have time for. The third one is they are always okay and seem to never be struggling. They as in people pleasers. People pleasers believe that their problems aren't as important as other people's problems, and that their feelings will never be as important as everyone else in the room. They always choose to inconvenience themselves rather than. Number 4, they don't know how or won't set boundaries, especially when someone repeatedly and expectedly pushes against the boundaries. They can't hold to their end of it. They waffle often because they feel guilty for demanding anything out of someone else. Number 5, apologizing repeatedly over silly things. Even when it's obvious it was someone else's mistake, they're apologizing over and over. If the other person is dissatisfied, they can't stand it, so they take responsibility for whatever it is that happened, even though they know it wasn't them. Number 6, needing constant approval from everyone you meet. That's pretty short, self-explanatory. Number 7 is they're scared of seeming selfish. They have a naggy voice inside their head that says you could be doing more for others. Like, if you ever happen to find time for yourself, you just hear in the back of your head that you should be doing more. You should be doing more for others. You could relieve so many people's burdens. Like, never mind your own, right? So you're ignoring yourself, your burdens, and your tiredness because of that voice inside your head that's nagging. Number 8, guilt when you become angry. People pleasers are so accustomed to taking responsibility for keeping others happy that you think you shouldn't feel sad, hurt, or upset by the way that they treat you. And you could never tell the truth about how you feel. If you're afraid, if you're hurting because of something they did, you would never admit it. Number 9, similar to the last one, is taking blame. Like, I made them angry, or I made them react like that. Shame on me. Why did I do that? I made them so mad. I just made it so much worse. Oh my gosh, you guys, I struggled with this one for years. Like, I would just think that I was the problem. I just made it worse. I got to go fix it. I got to make it better. I know just what to do. And it's kind of self-sacrificing. People pleasers don't allow the other person to own their actions. They take the blame for all of it. So the other person doesn't have to be uncomfortable or awkward or take ownership. Number 10, they pretend to agree when they don't actually. They're just afraid that you won't like them if they disagree. And 11, they avoid conflict at all costs. By anticipating other people's feelings and reactions, they're just changing whatever's necessary in order to not have a confrontation. Number 12, and this is the other big one, aside from like lying, is pretending. You're a chameleon. Reflect what the person in front of you is, giving them all the decision making, all their opinions, all their feelings, and then just kind of copying what they do in order to have like a seamless time with them. Not having any differences, no tension, just making sure it all feels like a winning situation. It's kind of a big one. Here's why it can be harmful. Number 1, why people pleasing is harmful. You prioritize everyone else's needs but your own, and you risk having burnout and not being able to help anyone else, even if you wanted to, because you can't give what you don't have. It's not genuine. Number 2, people-pleasing behaviors tells everyone else that you're not important. It also leads you to encounter more people who feel like others are lesser and beneath them. So you actually find a match in the world with someone who treats you the way you do. If you're dismissive with yourself, you will run into people who are kind of dismissive of you. If you think you're not important, you'll be with somebody who's very important and you are not. Okay, number 3, you're taking others' agency away, It's harmful to be a people pleaser because it takes their agency away. It's bad for them too, not just you. You fixing them or taking on their responsibilities means that they don't learn to solve or have ownership of the things that they should be sorting out for themselves. You deny them the chance and you interfere with their life's best lessons. Number 4, people pleasers have a hard time being vulnerable because they hide their true feelings out of shame and guilt, and they avoid so many things. It creates this barrier between who you are as your authentic self and from other people. It leads you to poor relationship quality, and you even become unable to get close to people that you love, because closeness comes when you're each able to bring your real self with your real needs, real opinions, real desires. That's closeness. Blocks that. Number 5, you'll become unacquainted with your needs, your opinions, and your desires, and you'll hide or avoid yourself. When you do have the time or energy, you'll avoid it all. Number 6, your mental health can suffer. People pleasers on the far end of the spectrum develop social anxieties. It's so much to take on everyone else. Think of this list we just had. Yeah, you're going to end up with some social anxieties because you're a people pleaser, and sometimes people call it an empath, but you're so wrapped up in their heads, carrying what they think and trying to outguess them. It's just exhausting. All right? Now, what causes people pleasing? There's a lot of things that cause people pleasing. And think of your kids here, because what causes people pleasing is some of the things we do as parents. And we portray this in the way that we speak. So just be careful about this. Number 1, worry that other people won't love or accept you. Number 2, they become more important than you. Number 3, and that's everyone else in the room that becomes more important than you. That's pretty bad. Trauma is another cause. Anything that's perceived as a big threat makes us anxious about others having any negative reaction towards us. So you can get overly helpful to them to keep yourself safe from having to deal with their reactions. The next one, mental health. So if you're depressed or you suffer from anxiety, you can be an avoidant personality. They all play a factor in people pleasing. The next one, the need to control. If you can feel in control of people and situations, whether you like the people or not, you just have to have your way so you're in them meddling. You need to be in control. Gender plays a factor in people pleasing as well. And this mostly happens with women, and I'm a woman, so I'll just address that. It's a cultural conditioning. You set yourself aside for the cause of the family, and you start teaching your kids that no matter how people make them feel, others' emotions are really important, more important than theirs. You know, whether you're sorry or not, you need to say it. See, that's pretending. And thinking of others first is so noble. It's such a noble thing to do. Think of them first. But we put our own oxygen masks on to make sure we're good before we can help other people put their oxygen masks on. If you're doing something at the cost of yourself, that's when it becomes people pleasing. And the kids, they're in training to be people pleasers. They will end up with having no time or attention left for themselves too, just like we're doing. It ends up being confused as to who you really are. When you live to please others and meet their needs and you're in their head, you are disconnected from what's in your head and living to please that inner voice. Being confused as to who you really are is common when you live to please others. It makes sense though, right? So many midlife women don't know their purpose. Their kids are getting older and leaving the house, and they feel reduced to external things like laundry or cooking or running errands. And in their minds, they're getting taken for granted. But the truth is, you haven't been looking into or listening to what's inside of you. You've been so worried about what's inside them. So you're not going to be good at knowing what's inside you. You just be confused as to who you really are. Maybe you didn't know that you were being a people pleaser, right? You'll keep getting your favorite drink and your favorite comfort food and your nails done. But the longer lasting inner peace, regardless of whether you have another bubble bath, listening to your inner self and meeting the needs of what's inside you lets you listen to what's inside other people for real instead of outguessing them and try to please them, just being there for them wherever they're at. So if you've thought of anyone while listening to this, I want you to share it with them now, because the heavens reach us through each other. So be the one to share the truth and rise the awareness. We need to know the patterns that hold us back. We need to undo those ones. the ones that get in the way of having a full and happy life, and we need to redo them with routines and implement new ways that foster this authentic support and growth, because it's for us and for those around us. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.